Now, since we have the main structure of the application set in place in terms of packages, we should start building our actual components. So the first step is to navigate under Hangman game guy panels and create a simple class, and let's call it empty panel. The first thing is to annotate this class with the component stereotype so that it will be registered with the Spring as a simple component and can be injected later in the corresponding frame. This class will actually extend the JPanel. This is helpful for us in order to create the actual panel as a separate component. Now let's add a simple constructor. And we have the reference to the JPanel using the keyword this. And we want to set the preferred size to a specific dimension, 500 per 100. Let's also set the background color of the panel to black. And we can set up a simple layout for our panel. And let's go with a grid layout. Two and one. I stop the initial running of the application. Now, since we have this simple panel in place, we can go to the Hangman game guy frame and create the actual frame of our application that will keep all the panels. Okay, we can click on Finish button. Also, for our Hangman frame, we should annotate it with component so that it will be picked up by the Spring. This class will extend the JFrame. JFrame is a class from the Java Swing package. And we have the option to auto-wire the empty panel. Once again, since empty panel is a component, we can inject it directly here. And we'll also create a JPanel called main panel. Let's also add a comment. Since this main panel will keep all our imported panels that will be added to the main JFrame. So imagine that we will import all our created panels, add them to the main panel, and this main panel will be added directly to the JFrame. We also set up a simple constructor. And let's create a method called create main guy, and we'll need to annotate it with a post construct so that this method will be automatically invoked. We imported the Javax annotation package in order to properly use the post construct annotation. And now we will define some specific properties for our main JFrame we'll need to set up the bounds to 100, 70, 1100 and 500. We will not allow the user to resize this JFrame as an option. The next step will be to add a specific window listener to this JFrame. We'll need to instantiate a Windows adapter. Let's remove these comments. And we'll need to implement the corresponding method called window closing. And as a parameter, this will receive the window event. And when the user will click on the X button in order to close this window, we'll actually get rid of the application. We'll exit the application and release all the resources. Now we need to instantiate the main panel. And under the main panel, we need to set the layout. And for this case, we will use the border layout. And now we are able to add an empty panel under the main panel using the border layout south option. So this empty panel will be added in the bottom. And we'll also add the main panel to the JFrame, the main JFrame, and set the JFrame as visible to the corresponding user. Now let's start the application. Let's save the empty panel. And you see that we received an error. Spring does not work well with swing corresponding components. And you see the error here that is related to headless. In order to fix this, we need to navigate to the main corresponding method from our game application. And I remove the initial statement, and we will need to use the Spring Application Builder. I will create a new object for the Spring Application Builder, and as an instance, we will receive the GameApplication.class. And we need to set the headless for the builder as false and run this builder. And we are now ready to start the application since the headless option was set to false. And you see here at the bottom, we set the empty panel. And we also have the option to close the JFrame.